Welcome to this episode of the Million Dollar Mastermind. I'm Larry Weidel, and before we get started, if you want to know exactly how to win again and again, go to weidelonwinning.com/webinar now to watch something I've put together for you. Now let's get going into this episode of Million Dollar Mastermind. I'm here this afternoon with Anthony Franco. Anthony is a serial entrepreneur, and he just got through telling me he's had 5 startups so far. He's 4 years into this one. He's the founder of MC Squares, a dry erase whiteboard tile business. And they've gone through a lot of the startup steps that you go through, but one thing significant, they were on Shark Tank in season 11, 2019, got $300,000 for 25%. And he's been through that education. Their sales are up over 2 million, 600% increase from first quarter 2019 to first quarter of 2020. And, before the bottom dropped out with COVID. So lot of experience. He's an advisor in different areas. He's a mentor, and he's actually founded 7 successful companies, and he's been in that founder and president role for 10 years. He's learned a lot about winning, folks, and it's exciting to have him on. So Anthony, thanks so much for spending time with us today.
Thanks for having me.
Anthony, when you, what are you most proud about this particular startup and what's happening there? Usually it's you can have a lot of kids, but it's your newest baby that you're most proud of, it seems. So tell us what you're proud of that's about this one.
Yeah, well, so my other companies that I've founded and exited were all tech startups, and in this company, I wanted to build something where we actually built physical products, and so we make really simple products, simple to understand, reusable dry erase sticky notes are easy for people to understand, but the way we make them is quite advanced. We have an advanced manufacturing facility that we started ourselves and have learned how to make products on our own. So even though the company feels simple from the outside, it's a pretty interesting engineering feat what we've been able to accomplish on the inside.
And what to people like me who are not in manufacturing, have no clue the difficulties. I do remember Elon Musk recently talking about going through 10 years of manufacturing hell to get to where he is today. I'm sure that would resonate more with you than it would a person like me. What are some of the challenges you run into in that?
Well, so it's a lot like so let me talk about the differences between software. So today, if you build a piece of software and you make a mistake, you can change a line of code and it instantly is deployed across your entire user base. So a website, for example, I can make a change right now and you would see that change on your computer monitor right away. Where in physical product development, if you make a mistake, it's not like all your customers get the benefit of the fix. You have to reship out product or sell more, and in order for people to get the benefit of that change. So, certainly nowhere near as complex as making lithium ion batteries like Elon Musk does, or self-driving cars, but I can certainly empathize with the difficulty it must be to do what he's doing. He's literally changing the world with tech and doing it with physical products, and yeah, the complexity for what he's doing is astronomical. But for us, it's it's learning how to make something that hasn't been made before, and doing it in a scalable way it's complicated.
And there's nobody, you couldn't outsource this. I mean, how quick did you realize I'm not going to be able to outsource this? I've got not only come up with the idea, I've got to figure out how to make it.
Yeah, well, I mean, we could have outsourced it. Wanted to have a lot more connective tissue to the manufacturing process ourselves. So I'm a product guy. I design and build products, and so having the ability, you're getting your hands dirty in the manufacturing process means you can make products better. And so outsourcing it just wasn't a thing that I wanted to do. I wanted to be closer to the manufacturing process, closer to the design iteration process, and I'm really glad we did. So, but learning how to do it was, I got laughed out of a lot of outsourced companies before we started manufacturing ourselves, because we wanted to do things that they just had never done before. So we had to cobble some machinery together and put some automation and code that in order for it to work the way we wanted it to.
And how many people are we talking about with we?
Oh, MC Squares right now is 20 people.
But
So
I
we're
mean, in the
relatively
beginning, when you started, when you were figuring it out.
Oh, it was me and one other person
Okay.
trying to figure stuff out. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's a small we, but I tell you, the importance of having one other solid citizen, like-minded person who is totally committed to the vision, the idea that you can bounce ideas off of, that can take over some of the overflow of work, can come up with ideas on their own that you never thought of. The dynamic of that can be more than just two people, can it?
Yeah, it absolutely can. It does take a leader, but it also takes somebody to get what's the phrase? It takes only one person to make a lone nut a leader. It takes only
Yeah,
one, right?
right.
So I love
Yeah.
that phrase because that is absolutely true. I was, if you're doing it by yourself, you're just a crazy loon.
Hey, listen, there's a lot of information online, but there aren't a lot of people who've actually done something. In my case, I've actually built a successful business that's accrued over $5 billion in assets under management and has done well even during trying times. Now, if you want to know exactly how I've done this, go to whitelmwinning.com/webinar now. I've compressed a decade of learning into 5 short weeks just for those of you who want to give yourself an incredible advantage and are tired of waiting and watching others move up. How did you get started in this inventing entrepreneur mode? Where did that come from?
It was actually what I was fascinated by was advanced manufacturing techniques. So again, I have a tech background. I used to be a software developer, and I really was fascinated by how manufacturing is changing, and so I started by purchasing a very expensive. In my last exit, I was able to afford a toy, and the toy I decided to buy was a very nice 3D printer, so I could learn how to manufacture stuff digitally. And so that was the gift to myself, is to learn something new. So yeah, that's what fascinated me. And so I learned how to design and manifest things in the physical world, and then it kind of grew from there.
What? How much does a 3D printer cost?
Well, that one was
What? The one that you would be interested
yeah.
in, or the one that
So you can get 3D printers now for your home for a couple $1,000 that are fairly capable. But 4 years ago, the printer that we bought that I bought was the size of a Fiat and about 150K.
aha. But then the potential for all kind of madness was huge, I guess.
Yeah, I didn't go to college, so I viewed it as my college education.
How did you educate yourself to become an inventor and write software and start your own business, do all these startups? Take us through
Yeah,
that.
yeah. Well, I mean, when I went to high school, we had a Apple IIe computer lab, and I took a
Right.
computer programming course, and that's really kind of where I fell in love with software development. There was something really interesting about um, putting ones and zeros into a computer. That's not what I did it in, but putting code into a computer and making it do something you wanted it to do. And from a very early age, I've always been a builder and loved building stuff. And then trying to sell it to other people.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. You have to do something with it. Filling up the garage with trinkets is not
That's
you
a
know, lose
hobby.
it.
No, there's
Yeah,
nothing
that's
wrong with it. It's a hobby
yeah,
though. Yeah.
right. Yeah, you got to get it to market. So when did that light bulb come on?
Really early on, my very first business was I bought a large format printer and started creating t-shirt designs and screen printing materials for a t-shirt company that was printing t-shirts for Mexican radio stations out in LA. So very early on, I was putting my computer and graphics knowledge to work and just doing little odd jobs here and there for people that couldn't do it.
And you had to have been a problem child. I mean, I've got visions of all kind of madness that you must have gotten into. What was the first thing you did to make money?
The first thing I worked at a car wash. The first thing I ever did to make money is I worked at the local car wash. Worked in the restaurant industry for quite a while, trying to find my way, and computers were just a hobby. And then my first business was taking my computer knowledge and creating silk screen stuff for Mexican radio stations. And then from there, I started applying my high school taught computer programming into building software for smaller companies, and then kind of grew from there.
What did you learn from those initial work experiences that kind of informed what you wound up looking for next and evaluating people and positions?
I think what I learned is I suck as an employee. Um, I'm a terrible employee. And so what I figured out is that I had, in order for me to earn a living, I had to have myself as my boss. Otherwise I wasn't going to be able to hold a job.
You learn that you suck as an employee, and I'm sure the people you work for were the ones that made that very clear to you.
Yeah. I was not the best employee. I always wanted to figure out why things were done a certain way, and I just couldn't do it because I was told to do it that way. I wanted to figure out why. I wanted to look under the hood. I wanted to improve the processes. And if you're managing a restaurant and you have a server that wants to figure out why you're doing something, you don't want them to dig that deep into it. You just want them to do it the way it's supposed to be done, or that it was designed in the employee manual. So yeah, I learned very early on. I need to break other things to figure out how they work, so I can I don't know, get out of bed in the morning.
Yeah, the thing is that appears to be what Mark Cuban did from an early age. He refers to the only job he could get is working in a computer store as like a glad hander. People would walk in and he'd find out what they were looking for, and he would take them over to different parts of the store. But in the meantime, he'd ask questions on both ends, for the people who were servicing them, and he just kind of found out everything that was possible to know about the computer business from the retail side, and he parlayed that into his next position. Everywhere he went, he was asking questions like what your talking about here. There's a lot to be found that can be found out just simply by learning and having an instinct that you develop about asking the right questions, because everything can be improved.
Yeah, I think, I know quite a few entrepreneurs, and the defining trait of the successful ones that I have is this overwhelming sense of discontentment. So not being happy with the way the world is, or not accepting the way things are, even to the extent of going into a restaurant and picking apart how they do things, or not being able to enjoy a meal because they could have constructed the menu differently, or that the wait staff isn't moving in an efficient way. Like those things that might drive other people insane thinking about all the time. It's just kind of a natural state of being for us. So that wanting to improve or knowing things can be better, I wouldn't recommend it for everybody, but it is a common thing that I see in other entrepreneurs.
If you enjoyed what you've heard and are dead serious about finding out for yourself exactly how this works in the real world, I've taken the most valuable business lessons I've learned over 40 years and put them into something for you to watch. Go to whiteelementary.com/webinar now in order to move up as fast as possible. I'm Larry Weidel, and I run the $1 Million Mastermind. Go, go, go.